Woo! What's up, man?
Hi, man.
Coach D, what's
Hey,
up,
well,
Vested community?
I'm gonna tell you what.
Tell me, man. Talk to me. How you doing?
I'm in Washington
Man,
State.
come
Yeah.
on.
I'd say I drove there, but
What are you doing?
I'd say my wife flew here because she's a superhero, but we forgot our cape. So yeah, she drove 18 hours. Yeah, and I understand you're at a dealership. Jamal.
Wow.
What kind of deals are we making, man? Why didn't you tell me you're making deals, bro? I got deals. I can make deals. Why don't you like my deals? What kind of deals you
Man,
make?
so you're in Washington. I hear you. I see. There we go. Great connection
Look,
coming in. Are you
I
there?
got trees on my shirt. Yeah. I got trees on my shirt. I'm ready. I'm vested. Anyway,
Oh man.
talk to me.
Are you? Can you? Man, I'm rocking and rolling. I'm actually, was handling some business today and ended up staying at a location longer than I anticipated, and it was getting close to showtime. And I just said, hey, I'm here in your guys' office. Can I just set up shop? And they let me set up shop, and we're still wrapping up some other things. But I'm here in a location, offsite location in Costa Mesa, California, making business happen and launching Vested at the same time. And we're going to talk about some amazing stuff today, man. So, hey, in this world today, when we're rigid, we break.
Sir.
When we're flexible, we bend. And I think more now than ever, leaders as leaders of light, leaders of inspiration, leaders of encouragement, leaders of love, we have to be flexible more now than ever. So
I think that's one of the good things that we can take from this real crazy 2020 years. We've learned how to do things a little bit differently. And look how the skill set is carried over, Jamar. Like, we have an online television show, and we're now broadcasting it in different ways than normal. Like, this isn't a studio. The noise that you're hearing about is because people are doing business in a dealership. So Vested is about vulnerability. Vested is not about perfection. But what I'm doing in Washington, I forgot about this.
hey man, Hey, Coach D, speaking of perfection, the way I see you is you're frozen, and I can you're going in and out. Is my connection good with you?
I can see you.
Yes.
How am I now?
There we go.
All right. Okay, man.
Yeah.
All right, take it away then. I'll sit over here and freeze a little. Freeze, start. Let's talk about our gear.
Oh no! Connection, where are you? Where are you? Coach D, are you there? I'm flying the plane. I got no controls.
I'm wondering if
I'm flying the plane.
Can hear me or if they can hear Jamar. I don't know, because I can hear Jamar. I'm wondering if Jamar can hear me, or what about what kind of? Okay.
Nah, bro. Nah,
So
man.
This is the we paid for the advanced internet. I was gonna give DoubleTree a shameless plug because their cookies are epic, but this sucks. You do not get 5 stars. You do not get 5 stars.
Oh. Well, listen. Hey, Vest. There. Oh, connection. You're there. You're there. You're good. We got it. We got it. We got it.
Can you hear me?
We got it.
No?
We got it. Yes.
No? Yes?
Yes.
All
yes. Right. I see you. I hear you. Good.
So
wait, where are you? You're in a hotel room in Washington?
DoubleTree.
Okay, I got you. Gotcha. Okay.
All right, let's go on with jamming, bro. Tell us about our boy. Let's hear what we're doing tonight. Yeah. What are we doing?
Man, well, we're here to highlight one of my brothers, man, who is it's an honor to have him to be a part of his squad, right? And he's a business leader in the community. Has massive responsibility when it comes to what he does in a professional role. He's in a leadership role of a multi-billion-dollar organization, one of their prime prestige locations here in Southern California. And this dude is a leader of light. You know, he has that spirit to help other people, to lift up other people. He's a family man, amazing husband, amazing father. And you know, the time that he and I have been able to build a genuine friendship, I got nothing but love and respect for this dude and what he's been able to do in the COVID reflection environment this last year with his organization and all of the people that are under his leadership and partnered with him to make sure that the business continues to move forward. Man, I've seen this dude grow tremendously and do it with the best attitude. And so I'm just grateful that he's here today, man, as a business leader in the community, you know, making moves and giving back to other people. No, bro. No audio. Yeah. I see your lips moving now.
Time to think about them, and I'm not gonna say the same things. So, Jamar, let's kick it forward, man. Let's bring your boy on. Let's hear what he's got to say.
All right.
Oh
man, I could hear you guys the entire time, and you guys awesome. By the way, Jamar, what an introduction. I love you too, and Coach D, the cook. I'm starving now. That looks so good. I still give it a 5-star. That cookie, you got frozen for a little bit with the cookie right in your mouth, and that was all planned. That was great.
I didn't know if people could hear me or not, so I was just like, listen, I was going to say something about the DoubleTree cookie, but I don't know if I'm going to give them the plug right now that their internet's not so great. So I thought I'd just cookie and see how it went. But we're good. I feel good about it. The cookie. So anyway, listen, we're so excited to have you, man. Thank you very much. Jamar, introduce me to your friend, bro. Let me know. I told everybody else, but tell me about it.
Oh, hey, guys, I'm here. Can you am I clear? Like on my screen, I'm clear. So just tell me that I'm clear. Can you guys hear me?
Great.
No? You can hear me, you can see me. Okay, great. Because I didn't hear nothing you guys just said. Man, hey, guys, listen. We talked about how amazing this was going to be, and then boom, we get here, and that's what life's about. You're going to have challenges, you're going to have adversity, right? You're going to have some setback, and you know, today we're here to talk about who's in your squad. You know, meaning like who's part of your power team, who are the people that are pouring into your life, and who are you pouring into? You know, that's the topic today. But Albert, you know, this was something that was on your heart. Why was this message on your heart today?
Yeah, it's been on my heart for a long time, and continues to this day. You know, I talk to a lot of leaders throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, and it's very interesting that you find that a lot of people don't ask that question: who is on your squad, or who is your squad? And I see it in two ways. Really, it's who's pouring into you. Who's mentoring you? Are you aware of the people around you? Are you intentional about them, right? I think about those that you might have on your squad when you become more aware that are telling you you can't do things, that you're not worthy enough, right? And they might not be saying it that exact way, but in a way where that's what they're saying. Or maybe you have people in your squad that aren't saying a dang thing. You have all these goals and aspirations and you want to achieve things, and you don't have anyone in your current squad that are cheering you on and motivating you. And then on the flip end, Jamar, Coach D, the reason why it was so important is who are you giving back to, right? So, you know, as I mentioned backstage with you both, I'm so lucky and fortunate and thankful. I thank God you both are a part of my squad now. And I'm hoping I could pour back into both of you as well. And so the other question is who are you pouring into? Who are you developing? Who are you spending time with?
We got to back up, brother. We got to back up. Okay, so what we do here is we inspire, we create, and we empower. So all of the things that you just led to, they're highly, highly empowering. So in a time like that we're working through, that we're living through, that we're learning through. Okay. A lot of different stuff's going on, and I understand why it's so important that we have this team with us. But I truly believe in this I am, we are concept. Okay. And what that means, or like Bruce Lee kind of encapsulated it by saying a quote, and I'll butcher it a little bit, but you have to have your cup completely full before you start lending it out, okay? Before you can start actually enjoying everything. So what I want to get into right now is I want to get into you. So what started this thought that you could accomplish more as a team, but as an individual? So like, yes, you're a leader and you have to understand what a team will do. Talk to me about you. I want to know about you first. When did you have this idea?
Yeah, it actually goes back to my father, Albert Sr., and my mother, Lori. But I'll tell you about my father because there's a great story with my mom and how she came from Peru when she was 13 and surrounded herself and her family with some great people. But my dad, he was born in East LA, rough neighborhood, and there wasn't a lot of good going on at the time where he was from. But he made a choice. He said, I could be a part of the systemic issue, or I could walk to the library, go educate myself, and surround myself with, going back to this point, a squad, regardless of dead or alive, virtual or on a paperback book. But he was going to surround himself in these hallways of the library with people that will motivate him to get out of that environment. And fortunately, that helped me as a young kid growing up, and now to this day being in the corporate environment. I've been inspired by that. My dad making the choice, regardless of his circumstances, to surround himself with people that were going to make him better, so he can go then and build a great family and provide for his kids and his wife. And he did a great job.
All right, so you're growing up and you see your dad making a choice, putting his foot down and saying, "Oh, this is the decision that I made, and this is what it's going to be," right? So you see him moving forward. Now, that I get, okay? So what happens when he made this choice and he's moving forward and things are going all right, but he got knocked down? Okay, give me an example. Give me a story as you're a kid and you're looking up and you're developing who you are, right? You don't necessarily know and you're making some choice on your own, but you see now all of a sudden that someone's on their path. They have an idea of where they want to go, but then they get knocked down. What does knocked down look like, and how do you get back up?
Let me give you actual specific example. And I love that you both are big about vulnerability. So about 3 years ago, in a time where I was climbing up the corporate ladder, and working hard and trying to provide, I lost my way when it came to purpose and pouring into myself, right? I mentioned who's on your squad. It took a little bit of a break, unfortunately, because I lost sight of my purpose and my original intent, which is to maximize people's potential and that of my own. And driving home one day, and my chest tightened up, my wrist tightened up, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And the first the person that I called was my wife, so I could freak her out and let her know I was about to die, or at least I thought I was at the time. To make it short, I ended up having a panic attack. I dealt with anxiety. And I actually like that you've allowed me to bring up this topic, because there is a stigma in the corporate world, and whether you're an entrepreneur or in high school and college, there's a stigma about talking about mental illness. But I'll tell you, there's so many people that have gone through this and now have brought people into my squad to learn more about the psychology of anxiety, depression, and mental illness. It is so common. I had to reset. I had to think about how I was pouring into myself, filling up my cup, and getting back to nutrition, to working out, to reading. So you have all the different places, right? Your physical, mental, spiritual, etc. And so it was a big challenge. I drug my wife and family through the mud because I saw it as a weakness at first. And, going back to my father and mom and some of the challenges they've gone through and how they've overcome that, we really had to get back to the foundation of what's your value structure, right? That shapes your judgment and decision making, and what's your purpose.
That's what it's about. Jamar, we lost him for a little bit. I wanted to wait till you came back to drop the Inspire banner, because everything he said was why we do
Inspire, man. Wait, we find a way, we make a way. Double inspire.
I mean, okay, real quick before I hand you the reins, Jamar, we're talking about some inspiring stuff. Okay, we got into the whole leadership situation, and I'm so glad that you brought this up, my friend. So leadership isn't always about winning and about having a team and building. And yeah, I'm winning. It's not sometimes about mental health. Sometimes it's about recognizing either whether it be yourself or somebody on your team is in a position where they're not doing well and they need somebody to pick them up. So you're looking at your father while you're growing up. You see him put his foot down. He's making moves to come up. What is it about the feeling that you have as you're trying to become a leader yourself? Let's just say you're growing in this corporate environment of failure, of that panic attack that inspires you to bring the team together even tighter, man. How do you do that?
Oh, wow. That's pretty deep, right? As you think about the fears, anxiety, typically what they say is anxiety's fear of the future, right? Whereas depression is the fear or dread of the past. So for me personally, it was the fear of the future that I couldn't live up to extending my father's legacy, right? Working hard, figuring it out, self-educating yourself. And in my case, going on to learn in the university system. And so I think that's what it was, is the fear of not being able to provide, the fear of not meeting my own needs, my own goals. And I think a lot of people deal with that. And I think, there's not many of these types of platforms that are so inspiring and are so, so welcoming, by the way, so welcoming to allow someone to speak about it. And I really do think we need that, especially nowadays. Jamar brought up COVID and where people are at. Well, people have been stuck in their homes. They unfortunately haven't been focusing on things to help themselves, or haven't had those connections with others to help them. And they're in a rough spot. And so I think many people are fearing what is going to happen when there's all this unknown. People fear that you get a sense of anxiety. You get the nerves when you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen in a week, what's going to happen to my job in a year, what is going on. And so that was tough. It's a really, really deep question,
man. Well, you look at this here, right? Because if you talk about how the impact of what everyone has gone through, this is a constant theme that we always talk about because it's real life.
Yeah.
And isolation, you think about, we all know someone who is institutionalized, who's in prison or in jail somewhere. And you think about when people are in prison, institutionalized, how are they punished? They are put in isolation. That's how people were punished who were already in isolation. They're put into solitude, solitary, further isolation, because that is the greatest torture. And that's it. And you think about how that, how everyone has experienced that, where this last year, I think people really were identifying, man, who is my squad? Like, I miss my squad. Like, who are the people that lifted you up? Who are the people that were injecting energy into you? Who are the people that were lifting and thrusting you? And here's the thing, your squad doesn't need to be alive, right? Me and Brother Albert were talking about this. Your squad could be books that you're tapped into, could be YouTube videos, podcasts, right? Messages out there of people who are no longer physically living, but their message is still resonating and changing and impacting lives. Like, for example, I always talk about my brother Napoleon Hill. One time Damien talked bad about Napoleon, but I knew you were joking.
Whoa.
But you think about,
Come on now.
In my opinion, one of the greatest books ever written was the Scripture, the Bible. That's my opinion. We love, and Albert, we love everyone here. Doesn't matter what you believe, not you, but I'm saying doesn't matter what the vested community believes. We're the lover of people. We're not the judge. We're not here to tell. We love people. But my point is, in my opinion, the second most powerful book on the planet is The Law of Success, Think and Grow Rich. So you think about how many people have been impacted and changed their life forever by that one book. That people who've added Napoleon to their squad. And you think about today, we have so many movers and shakers. And I'll say my brother's name, Ed Milet, man. This dude is a real time leader in the community, in the world, vibrational leadership, empowerment, personal growth, mindset. There's so many powerful people out there. So, man, who is your squad? Albert, I'm so glad you brought this to the surface of discussion, because this last year, the squad, it was definitely looked at like, man, I miss my people.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Mr. Milet. I in my organization, I get a chance to, let's just say, pass by him because he's a busy man. Extremely impactful. I've gotten a chance to read and watch him and how he leads and how many people he impacts. Before I get into my squad, going back to what you were mentioning about the prisons, what's interesting about that is that, again, there's still a choice to be made, right? Regardless of your circumstances. You can be in prison, or you can be my father in East LA, or you can be wherever you are right now. Your family's where they are, or wherever they're at, whatever type of environment. You still have a choice, right? So you mentioned prison and you mentioned isolation, but think about Dr. King. Think about Nelson Mandela. Why were they still able in a prison setting, and then coming out, still able to impact millions of people and create change? Because they made a choice, right? And they had a squad. They read and they wrote. And maybe part of their squad too is yourself, your own internal self, right? Conscious, subconscious, and I won't get into all that. But speaking of my squad, and speaking of that, I'll let you know of a couple. And by the way, your squad could always change, right? Sometimes it's about seasons of life, and people come in and out, again, dead or alive. And in my case, yeah, many of them are authors or doctors, or we mentioned religion and God and Jesus. Why not? Absolutely. And I know we were mentioning we open to all ways of being and beliefs. Absolutely. Why not part of your squad too? But for me, Patrick Lencioni is definitely up there. Coach D was talking about teams. He is a master of how to build cohesive teams. Dr. Clark, he wrote about psychological safety. And as we think about the world we're living in now, people are wanting to have a voice. They want to be included. They want to have a seat at the table to just give some insight. Doesn't mean it has to be the executive decision, but at least some insight so you're heard and valued. So Dr. Clark talks about the 4 stages of psychological safety and so much more. So here's one that's not alive. President Lincoln, Abe Lincoln. And you think how he thinks big and thinks outside the box. And then I mentioned Jordan Peterson, a psychologist, but also avid follower of philosophy. And man, that he will make you think about a lot of things, right? Really think outside the box. And I think more people need to do that.
Wow. Okay. Jamar, before we move on to create, I have one last question. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you kind of touched upon it earlier before, but I feel like it's extraordinarily important to kind of just to circle back to it real quick. So you talked about having the inspiration, you put your foot down and you make a decision. Okay, so you have the fire within you to be able to move forward. So you have to look yourself in the mirror after maybe it's failure, or maybe not knowing what it is that you're supposed to do, or maybe moving forward with fear or anxiety or all this stuff going on. But once that you're done having that, once you're done expanding in that direction, you have to decide a different direction. So if you've decided within yourself, like, I'm not going to follow you, dude, if you're not inspired to get up and get yourself going and really believe, like, I would not follow you, Albert. I mean, I hope nobody will follow me either. But once you do, okay, and you're leading now, Albert, okay, and we're going still from the inspiration before we move to creation, and you're having a team of people that you believe in, okay, but their fire is out like yours once was as well. Okay, how do you hold space for them and support them and continue to believe in them when their fire's out and they're not doing much to get the team moving? Because we've got a lot of people right now that are dominated by fear, and they know there's a better self in there, but damn it, they can't get it going right now. What do you do as the leader now that you got your fire going to get their fire going?
Man, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's very common. Right? Whether you're in the corporate setting, whether you're a leader in the community, you think about when you're a leader in the community and kids that unfortunately have a set of circumstances that maybe they don't know anything else, or they're not inspired and they're not sure how to get there. I think as a leader, you need to lead through question asking, right? And tapping in. It goes back, Simon Sinek, although, some of his books are fairly repetitive, but I highly recommend for anyone that's looking to start there, to start with I mentioned it earlier, original intent, purpose, why, the fire starter, right? You need to start there is and backstage, we even said this, like, who are you outside? Who's your identity outside of your job? And, I'd mentioned my family. I don't know which way I'm pointing over here. What is your purpose? And I like to start there. So when I circle back with people leaders in an organization, I talk about that. I want to get to know them and get to know what makes them tick and what they're afraid of and what they're excited about, what they're passionate about. But really, what is their story? What is their why? What is their purpose? What's their original intent? Why were you here? Why did God make you? Right? And so that's a way to get it out of someone, is they need to find it in themselves. So you can't force it upon and say, hey, you're great at these. This is what you should be, right? Don't be that parent. Don't be that leader. What is it that you feel? What is it that you are excited about doing or passionate about, right? And why is that? Tell me why, not what is, but why does that excite you? Why are you in a state of flow? And I'll go back to sports. Why are you in a state of flow, athletes, when you catch that ball? Or why are you in a state of flow when you go and you're out in the ocean? Why are you in a state of flow when you're enveloped in a ton of books and you're in these stories? Why are you in a state of flow when you're helping kids? Why are you in a state of flow, whatever that is, X? So we need to figure out X for people, or people need to figure out X for themselves. It starts with asking why.
Oh, he did it. He did it. We got to go to create now.
Boom, boom, boom.
Now we go to create. Now this is where we go right now. Going to create. That's what we do. Whoa. Wow. I saw it. Was it there?
It was there.
It was quick.
It was good.
Watch out.
It was creative.
I don't know where they come from. Sometimes they come slow. We're doing create now. So, I had one. Okay, Ed Milet. You guys are both Ed Milet guys. Okay. And it's like a heavyweight bout, right? Where it's like, Ed Milet, I'm calling you out, baby. I want to see you on the Vested show. On the Vested show. Okay, but anyway. Both of you guys are truly inspired by this guy, okay? He has gone out, he's written books, he started companies, he's made lots of money. But, and you've read his books, you shook his hands. I would like to know what he would say. And we're going to go right here to you, my friend. It's a book. It's information. And though that will get the gears turning, I want to know the feeling, okay, inside you that drives you to create when you want to quit. How do you do that? So you're having a panic attack. You've called your wife because you're like, oh my God, I thought I was going to die. I've had one too, by the way. Hey, by the way, a world, okay, that hasn't had an anxiety attack, just breathing doesn't make it better. Not even a little bit. I thought, oh, come on, now it's breathing, your heart's beating hard. Till I had one. Oh my God. Anyway, so look, man, when you've been in that position where, look, you might have thought you were going to die, right? If you didn't die, you really questioned everything. And that's how small you feel inside yourself. Okay. Now, where does the fire come to create with that energy, bro?
Yeah, that's so to your point. I don't wish a panic attack on my worst enemy. You can't just think through it and think positive. That's what people say. That's my dad would say, think positive. But he knows better now. He's researched more about it.
Have one.
Your question about where do you find that fire, and why do something like a book, something written on a piece of paper as you're listening it on audio, why does it motivate someone to light a fire within? And I think it's because of story. I think humans love stories. You grow up and you watch movies. I'm sure we can all talk about our favorite movie and why it inspires you, or why it for some reason just makes you emotional, or why some reason it makes you extremely happy or sad. I think we as a community love story. And I think as a leader, you really need to we all can get better. At least I know I can. I'll speak for myself. Can get better at storytelling because I feel like I could impact so many more people because people just love to relate to stories. They love the emotional aspect to that. So I think I lean on storytellers. I'll put it that way, not books, but I lean on storytellers because I could find a little bit of something. Maybe you have a child, maybe you have a wife, maybe you have a demanding job, or maybe you want one. I lean on stories. I just can relate to that, and it makes it real. So although we brought up Mr. Ed Milet, and although we pass by each other, I feel like I know him a little bit because I've read his stories, right? I think I feel like I know Mr. Lencioni or Pat Lencioni because I've read a little bit about him and his stories and what inspires him and what he has had to go through, right? And so you could add all those that are within your squad and feel the same way, I think. So I guess at the end of the day, to your point, with panic attacks and all that, we're fragile, we're human, we're vulnerable, we have scars, and I think we need to share those moments so that people that go through them know exactly, hey, it's going to be okay. Yeah, I thought I was going to die maybe 250 times in the last 2 to 3 years because that's what it makes you feel like. That's what your brain's telling you.
That's your success, man. What we have the opportunity to do here, Vested, is to recognize the idea that, yes, this is me. And not only is this me, and I overcame it. And not only did I overcome it, I'm going to share my weakness and my vulnerability with other people to let them know, yes, now that I'm successful and now that I am where I want to be, this is what it took to get there. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? And thank you again for the platform to speak up on it, because there's so many leaders out there, and I've experienced it, and I've had to tap into what your question was earlier, is tap into that why, and to allow, I hate to say it this way because I don't think there's any safe spaces. I don't believe in safe spaces. I believe in challenging spaces. You need to get yourself or others in challenging spaces so that they become more vulnerable, so that they challenge their thought process, right? And we learn about each other so much more. And again, we vulnerability leads to trust, right? An absence of vulnerability, it leads to artificial harmony. And we don't want that because we don't move.
Correct, sir.
Man, I got a question, guys. In listening to Brother Albert, I mean, we got to have you back in May, man. I think you said May is mental health month, right? Mental health awareness. So, right. Man, I think if we can coordinate our schedules, it'd be awesome to have you back in May, so we could really laser focus and drill on that mental health topic. But back to what you're talking about, on the squad frequency, I got a question for you, bro. What would you say to people out there who have a squad, but they got a negative squad? They got a squad. They got a squad that talks about fear. They got a squad that talks about doubt. They got the squad that's in the rumor mill. They got the squad that's like about unforgiveness and hurt. Like, what about those people out there who have that kind of squad, who really doesn't build them up? It tears them down, which makes the journey even harder. Like, how would you communicate, hey, who's in your squad message to them?
Yeah, first start is to be aware that that's the case. I think that's the first thing, because I think that's where people miss it the most. But when you're finally aware and you talk to yourself about the bad news that those that are around you are just bringing you down, because it happens, and it's gonna, even if you have great people in your squad, you're always gonna have someone, unfortunately, many times throughout your life, they're gonna bring you down. It's just the way we work. We're emotional beings. But when you find that out, you need to have tough conversations. And before you go have tough conversations with others, you need to have a tough conversation with yourself. You need to talk to yourself about what you really want. What are your real goals? What's your real purpose? And then from there, once you align yourself and commit to that, because you got to commit to that or else nothing's going to change. But if you're true to yourself and you're real, that those are your goals and commitments, you then go have some tough conversations with people. Right? You don't be the Houdini. I see that too, is when you start to change up your squad, you just bow out and you leave someone dry and you never let them know how. Have courage. Have courage to have tough conversations with people. And by the way, when you do have that, you're pouring into them, whether they want to hear it or not. That's on them. It's not your fault. but you need to have some tough conversations with those that are bringing you down, respectfully and tactfully, but directly and candidly. And you need to let them know what they're doing, not for you, but to you, or whatever that might be. You just have to be honest and open. And then from there, the next step is, who's going to fill those voids? Because if you think you're going to do it alone, and I remember it as a young professional, as a young father, as a young brother, son, you can't do it alone. You'll learn that the hard way. And hopefully you get that message loud and clear earlier on in life, because some people, they think they can do it alone, and even later in the years, maybe it's worked up to that point, but you're going to get hit right in the mouth. I have an opportunity in my organization also too. Speaking of getting hit in the mouth, Mr. Tyson, the champ, I get to see him here and there. But that's just a physical reminder. Keep on your toes and keep growing and developing others and yourself. Right, stay on your toes, because you're gonna get hit in the mouth. It's gonna happen.
Well, hey, what did Tyson say? Hey, everybody wants to box until they get punched in the mouth, right?
And it hurts.
Wow.
It hurts.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you what. I'll punch Tyson in the mouth. I'll punch him in the mouth. You can tell him that.
See, Albert,
How many
sometimes,
people
brother,
like that?
Coach D, he gets fired up, and I'm like, Coach D,
I'm
we're
crazy.
giving
I'm
light
crazy,
to
dude.
the world,
And
man.
he's a fighter. He's a fighter.
Well, you gonna come at me? That's good. That's good. I'm gonna
Hey,
tell you
Ty-
my face.
hey,
I'm
Tyson,
not
we
scared.
love you, brother. We love you, Tyson. Just know you're welcome on VESTED. We love you, Tyson.
Yeah.
Come on,
By the
man.
way, he's an amazing human being.
I can appreciate the circle that man's made, and I really I like to joke with the people that can find ways to be able to do what you just said, my friend Albert. I think it's really tough to be able to humble yourself and recognize that at times when you're at the top, it's I mean, even you hear the champ Mike Tyson talk about it, that he'll even look at his very best moments and reflect upon them and be like, I could do better. And I think that that's a very leader mentality, and he might not even known that he was doing it when he was doing it, because it sounds like a lot of times he was manipulated. But before we move on to empowerment, because you talked about stories, it's a story that leaves an idea in your mind. And as we're sitting here talking about Mike Tyson, we're not necessarily talking about his leg, about all the people that he knocked out. We're talking about the full thing that we all know. We all know the troubles that he went through in his early career. We all know that he lost it all. And the fact that he's got a TV show and we see him in movies, that's the empowering thing, is when we see people continue to get back up, to continue to fight. And when you talk to him, he's so damn humbled. Like he looks at some of the stuff when he's like, when you guys saw me being quote unquote successful, you saw the worst part of me. You saw the most manipulated part of me. I wasn't even myself. I was a version of what other people wanted to see. So can we do the empowerment thing before I poke you about your story, man? Because I think you probably got some empowerment there somewhere.
It's in there.
Okay. Jamar, this is your guy right here. Okay, you probably know some of the stories, so why don't you poke him in whatever area you can get him to bleed out a story you haven't heard yet?
Man, that's a good question. It's I don't have nothing to poke him with, man. Just seeing him in his jam of what he does at the organization and the responsibility that he has to so many and for so many. And then when we talked about this week about what topic to talk about, and he said, man, who's in your squad? I said, hey, Albert, let's talk about something that's on your heart. And this frequency is there. And so that's what I love when we bring guests on the show and we talk about what's in their heart, because when something's in your heart, you can talk about it. When you're passionate, you really believe in something, you can talk about it. There's no fluff. There's no BS. You can be authentic and you can be genuine. And I believe the more authentic we are, like we're live and raw, right? There's no fluff here. It's the good, the bad, and ugly. It's just part of the game.
Woo!
But we always want to stay true to self and only connect with people. Like we talked about, keeping the integrity of our brand and our mission, connecting with people who have that same belief. And so, brother Albert, he does, man. And I'm so grateful that he has that authentic and genuine leadership, because we were just talking about this week, me and the leadership team. Remember, leadership is not about power. Leadership is about empowering. And whoever's in your squad, that's what I think is so important, that they must empower you in some capacity. So I was just thinking right now as we're talking, like my squad, man, my dad who's transitioned to heaven is my squad, right? Of course, God, Son, Holy Spirit, that's part of my squad. My amazing daughter, she empowers me all the time. You know, my mom. Then I think about the people in leadership. Well, you guys are part of my squad, right? Lifting and empowering me in some capacity. Pulling from people out there like John Maxwell, right? Napoleon Hill. Then being able to have the proximity to Ed Milet. Then other people in my business life that I work with, like the amazing Bill Woodich and his brother Mark Woodich, are like father figures to me and mentors and coaches. The amazing Lauren Stein and her brother Steve Haig and their mom Louise Haig, and another man that's been running with Ed Milet for 23 years, Dan Charlie. Like all these different people that are in my, like, I'm thinking about my squad, man. And I'm so grateful when I'm able to be in my leadership environments, and all the people that are there, they're part of my squad. And so our squad can be so big. You know, our squad can be so massive. There's no limit to the squad as long as the people that we're connected to, that they're lifting us up in some capacity. And so, Albert, man, I just want to tell you, bro, I'm grateful that you're part of my squad, man. And Damien, you know, I wouldn't be here if you weren't part of my squad, bro. And so I just want to say I love you guys, man. And I want to encourage the Vested community. That's the power we have as leaders of light, to transfer that to other people. You know, we can't, God hasn't given us the ability to see the ripple effect of the impact that we make in lives. Right? We will never know the impact that we make in someone else's life because it can go on forever. And so I just want to honor my brother and just tell him thank you for being here. And I apologize for me, you know, flying with some technical difficulties. But hey, man, we find a way to make a way.
That's right.
Sitting here taking it, man. Woo, give it to me tomorrow. Give it to us. All right, listen. You did it twice. You said the word, man, twice. Believe. You know, and you know this is a word that spreads across very, very well, right? And I'm Jamar, a belief strategist, and I truly believe that you need to believe to make anything happen. So here you are, Albert, right? You've got the lighter, okay, and you're flicking it and there's a spark, and you're flicking it and there's a spark, and you're flicking it and there's a spark. Tell me the story about and the energy, okay? The energy is what I'm interested in, that lit the fire, bro. Tell me the empowering personal story that you were flicking it, and when it finally caught, I want to hear your story. What is it?
Yeah, so there's been plenty of moments, and as you both say belief, I was laughing inside because I think for those that are watching that are young, or you know, even those that are in their later years, we all know, or you'll find out, that your belief structure is going to get challenged so many times. It's not even funny. So I'll give you a story, because throughout my life, although I would consider it a privileged childhood, you know, things still have happened. But I'll give you the most recent example where that belief structure was completely shattered. So my son, his name's Henry, you can actually see him in the puzzle picture behind me. Unfortunately, he was born with a rare heart condition called Wolff Parkinson's White. So he has an extra strand in his heart. And it made his heart beat faster and up to 300 beats per minute, unfortunately. And that was a moment where things were going great in my corporate job. Things were going great at home, friends, you name it. And, you know, I was flying high. And then right then and there, you just complete belief structure, and I call them the demons came out, because I started to question everything, thinking that my 4-day-old son was going to die. And I started blaming myself, and you know, did I work too much? Did I not pay attention? Did I not pay attention to the things that I was putting into my body? Was I not praying hard enough? Was my relationship with God or Jesus not strong enough? Was my spiritual life just not there or broken? And, you know, again, I have plenty of stories of things that have sparked my life, but I want to give you the most recent, and that was it. And again, I lean on my squad, and I mentioned his name earlier, Jordan Peterson, and he talks about the 12 rules of life. And actually a good friend of mine during this really tough time for me and my family, my wife and my family, it was a great story to remind me about my relationship with God, about my spirituality, my relationship with others. And the intentional time that you invest in with others, not even just in others, but with others. And I thought a lot about my family too. And thank God, my son Henry, he's huge now. And the kid, he eats so much, and he's beautiful. He has a great smile. Thank God that he's here. But I just think about the people that surrounded us, those that are a part of our squad that came to help us get through it, to empower us to find the strength to get through that moment. And then thank God that I made the choice to find others, again, through book, audio, podcasts, or whatever, to help me and my family get through it and build back that relationship, the foundation of my relationship with my spirituality and religion, as well as my connections with my family. Part of my value structure that I mentioned earlier, the number one thing on there is family. And by the way, that could be mom, dad, that could be friend that feels like mom, dad, or feels like sister, brother, or whatever, right? So family can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Just open your eyes a little bit more, open your ears, and you'll find family. If you think you don't have a family, you do. They're there. So I think to answer your question, that's recently what sparked me to get back on track. And I know I'm going to get derailed in the future, and thank God to Jamar's point, and we have people like yourselves in this platform. We have the choice to make. And by the way, accessibility is higher than ever before. So for anyone watching that feels like they don't have accessibility, yes, you do. There's apps like Libby where you have free access to books from all of your local libraries. Or reach out to me and I'm going to send you a book. But there's podcasts, there's free podcasts, there's free audio tapes. There's so many things out there that if you feel like that squad is not helping you lift up, then figure it out. You can make a choice and challenge the status quo and get to those things that are accessible. So sorry, that was kind of a rant I wanted to share.
Mic drop, bro. Mic drop.
Yeah. That's what happened. Okay, so in my opinion, what you guys just saw was a true professional. Okay, and first, before I even get into saying what I want to say, I want to thank you, my friend, because that's why I dedicated myself to this show. That's why I've dedicated myself to Jamar and my wife, the tech team, because I believe in moments like this. And honestly, my artistic creation in this life is the way that I choose to live it. And to be a part of somebody's vulnerability, for you to be able to look deep within yourself, and for you to be able to share something that is so personal with not just me for asking you a silly question, but our entire community, so that you can show the world your vulnerability. We're not here vulnerable so that we can just be jerks and poke at each other and say, oh yeah, these are my tears, da, da, da. It's so that we can take these experiences that we've struggled with in our lives, and we can put them up there with people that maybe we trust, maybe we don't, but we can utilize these pain, these tears, these uncomfortable moments to be able to make ourselves better and everybody else better. And man, dude, that was I'm in the middle of Washington, and this was a tough thing where we're cramped up on the wire and the internet. But you know what, dude, it was worth every single moment for you to share that with me, man. I thank you, dude. That's empowering. That is vested. Thank you very much. Shamar, you got me. That's what I got. You got me.
Bro. Hey, Coach D, we ready to wrap this thing up?
I mean, yeah. I don't say anything else.
Hey, listen, Vested community. We're here to shine light in the world, inspire, create, and empower, and encourage other people to do the same. In the world we're living today, like Brother Albert said, the accessibility is endless right now. There's no excuse for us not to have the squad that we want to help us to get to where we want to go. There's no excuse for that. The world we're in the digital, virtual information age. Access is everywhere. And I also want to encourage those out there who may need a little help with healthy boundaries, who may need help establishing healthy boundaries, because there might be people in your squad who are not serving you to your greater good. And that takes strength to establish those boundaries. And just remember that we're always going to be a part of someone's squad, and someone's always going to be in our squad. And the world right now needs more people out there giving love, giving hope, giving joy, giving thankfulness, giving gratitude, giving inspiration, giving encouragement, giving recognition. And so we just want to recognize you, Vested community, for on this journey. It doesn't matter what you do, what you believe, what mission you want to embark on, who you want in your squad. The question is, are you vested?